Hello, friends. Welcome to the Ancient Health Podcast, where East meets West. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Motley. And today I'm super thankful because we have Danielle and Kayleigh from Clearstem. Now, this is the first clean skincare system product that I have used that has really left my skin feeling amazing, or amazing, as some people will say. But truly, I'm thankful for you two, the acne experts, because I do get a lot of questions about acne, about breakouts, about skin health in my office and on Instagram. So guys, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us. I love in your intro that you say Eastern meets Western. We've been around for 7 years, and on our very first bottle rendition, we tried to fit that on because our methodology has always been Eastern meets Western, and we were trying to, the traditional just starting a product, wanting to communicate everything. And so we wanted to put Eastern medicine meets Western science, all the things on our bottle. So it's definitely near and dear to our hearts.
Yes.
I'm so grateful. Yes.
Seconding that, all of our education is reflective of traditional Chinese medicine, and we focus a lot on digestion and lymphatic health, which is ignored in Western medicine, and that's the pillar of Eastern medicine, right? So we feel like we're one with you more than other schools of thought.
Oh, that's what I'm telling you. I mean, I'm telling you, when you ladies sent me this, and they told me about your philosophy, because I try to always use what's, if I've ever worked with somebody, I'm so thankful that when I looked at your ingredients, but I was thinking it's so clean. But again, like you just said, I looked behind it and I'm like, well, these are really good herbs for such and such and such and such. And I was like, oh, they're going after the liver and they're going after the spleen. And you can tell in your philosophy that everybody that's listening out there, that it's skincare that, in my opinion, has specific targets in the body. So I know we can go into that. I don't want to take anything away from the conversation. And everybody out there, I want you guys to know that we want to talk about a lot of things today, but we do want to cover some hormonal skin issues and acne. We want to talk about some stress. And we definitely want to talk about healing from within, what starts within. But you guys have really changed how I think about skincare. And I want to know, if you don't mind, how you guys became acne experts, skin experts, what led you into this and what inspired you?
Sure, I'll start. This is Danielle, by the way. So we both struggle with our skin. We're both very acne prone. I am extremely acne prone. It's, there's a genetic component, right? Most people, their mom or their dad broke out, but I had it on both sides of my family, grade 4 into adulthood. So I never stood a chance. I studied biology, genetics, and immunology. I really wanted to go into medicine. I come from a family of scientists and just always thought that would be my path. But my acne got really, really bad when I went to college as I was a student aiming for pre-med, and I would go to my various different appointments, and there was no root cause discussion or education. It was just, which prescription do you want to try again? So I was getting put on antibiotics and then stronger antibiotics, and then birth control, and then a different birth control, and then spironolactone, and then Retin-A, and all these other things, and getting no information. And as a biology student hoping to one day do this, I was so disenchanted. So for 10 years, and I still struggle with my skin. Acne doesn't just go away forever usually, right? So, but for the 10 years, it was really, really bad. I did multiple rounds of spironolactone, 3 different rounds of Accutane. My acne came right back every single time. The third round was pretty devastating because I was like, it has to work this time. I was so desperate, and my vision was starting to get impaired, and I still have permanent dry eye from it. And I was getting all the gut issues and just every side effect. But I finished it, I stuck it out, and then my acne came right back within 2 months. And I was like, I'm gonna have to figure this out myself. So I was in the corporate world doing consulting and was searching for ways to learn about the skin. And this was about 10 years ago. And the only way you could learn anything, take any classes, was if you were an esthetician or in school. So I was like, all right, I'll enroll in school. I'll do whatever it takes. While I was in school, I saw a business model for treating acne and being an esthetician. And it was the medical profession I'd always dreamed of, but didn't know existed. Because in my head, it was okay, be a surgeon or a dermatologist. It never, ever occurred to me to be an esthetician. So I was hooked. I finished the program. I learned and interned under all the top people in San Diego, sponged up all the information, and started San Diego Acne Clinic about 11 years ago at this point. And Kayleigh was one of my first clients.
That's amazing. Oh, Kayleigh, yes, I love this. I love stories. And don't be shy. Keep telling me the stories. I love them.
I was patient turned co-founder, which is so wild. So I came to Danielle after about a year of struggling with acne. I had dealt with in my teenage years what I would consider typical teenage acne, but it came and it always had a little bit ongoing, but just whiteheads here, blackheads there, never anything really aggressive. Fast forward my mid-20s, I decided to get off birth control and acne came in a surgeons up both sides of my cheek, down my neck. It was so painful. At this time, I had a full-time corporate job, but I had gone back to school to become a nutritionist and an integrative health practitioner. And so I was putting myself through so many different protocols. I had learned a lot about the body. And so I'm just experimenting with everything, low FODMAP, anti-candida diets for parasites, like all different protocols. Nothing was helping. I actually didn't know really much of anything when it came to skincare. I just knew what we were told from marketing and as a teenager, what you were told to use, and just aggressively tried to dry out my own skin. But I tried everything from the DIY approach at home to drugstore brands to extremely expensive $300 serums that said it would be the one thing that would help with my acne. And I didn't really know where to turn when it came to skincare. I just looked for things that marketed towards acne. So I kept trying to figure this out myself after I was purely exhausted and felt like I had truly done everything. I thought, okay, I guess I have to go to the doctor now. The reason why I had avoided going to the doctor is because my experience in the past had always just been handed a prescription as a solution. And I was so set on figuring out why this was happening. I'm like, okay, I know I can easily just go get a prescription, but what is causing this? Like something is seriously wrong. My body is yelling, screaming, trying to get my attention. But again, I felt like I'd exhausted all efforts. So I went to my multiple primary care doctors, and the only two solutions through that avenue for me was to go back on birth control or go on antibiotics. Those both didn't sit right to me after continually asking why with no answers. So then I went to multiple dermatologists. I kept expecting to get a different answer, which is quite literally the definition of insanity. I just kept going to dermatologists and I was like waiting to finally get another answer. But the only answer at the dermatologist was Accutane. And so I actually started the process to go on Accutane. It's a 30-day process to go on, signing a bunch of paperwork. It's a lot that goes into it. So within that 30 days, I kept Googling around and finally, thank you to Google SEO because San Diego Acne Clinic popped up. And I had my first appointment with Danielle, and thank goodness I happened to be her last client of the day. So we literally spent 3 hours together. We talked for almost an hour and a half before she even touched my skin because I had a lot of extractions. Like I really had to get stuff out, but talked for first hour and a half, and my whole world was opened up into root causes of acne that I personally felt weren't being talked about in the naturopathic space, in the nutrition space, in the dietitian space, like that whole world of wellness. I just feel like there was a lot of things thrown out with acne, but the way Danielle had approached it was so simple, easy to understand, and not overwhelming. She had a checklist that we've now brought to scale throughout Clearstem, but it made it so easy because I felt like the functional medicine world was so much trial and error. And this allowed me to have a bit more simplified checklist to remove certain things, incorporate others. And she cleared my skin in 2 months with no scar damage. The no scar damage is due to the product she was formulating, which is now our Cell Renew serum, which is our scar revision serum. But truly, I'm forever grateful. And that's really where Clearstem was born.
Okay, this is great. It's fantastic. Like you could tell, like you're very passionate about this, and it is a very important subject. And because truly skin and your glow can do a lot to your emotions, right? I mean, it literally can make your world feel great, or feel very horrible like you both went through. And the reason when you guys sent this is like when I was younger, I had a lot of acne, especially around my chin and around the forehead. And I can get into that about like on the facial areas where like what could be causing it. But in general, and you guys can answer in terms of like, it could be hormonal, it could be like organ systems, but what basically is mainly the cause of acne right now, do you think? Or is it like, why do people battle it so much right now overall?
It's a great question. There's not a simple answer, but there is a very simple statement that everyone needs to understand, and it'll help them weed through a lot. Acne is both internal and external. A lot of products out there and a lot of solutions are marketed as addressing like one thing. This is the one thing that will cure your acne, et cetera, et cetera. Or if you go and get, if you go the prescription route, the prescriptions are generally attacking one thing. Antibiotics are addressing bacteria and bacteria only. Spironolactone is addressing the male hormones that can contribute to hormonal acne, but it's not addressing the root cause of it or the bacteria, et cetera. So basically, we need to understand that acne being both internal and external, there are a couple of major triggers in each category. The external trigger that is affecting nearly everybody, like I have not seen one clinic patient in my decade of doing this that didn't have pore clogging ingredients hidden in their skincare or their makeup. Pore clogging ingredients, there's about 100 of these little ingredients, right? And it ranges on a scale. It's the comedogenic scale. It goes from 0 to 5. And it's not a perfect science, whether something is a 0 or a 1. A lot of things fall within a range. But there are some ingredients that if you're acne prone, they're very likely going to break you out. The top ones are like coconut oil. And this is just topical products, right? Not talking about food here. So coconut oil, algae derivatives, a lot of them. And then there's chemical fillers called things like ethyl hexyl palmitate or isopropyl myristate, things like that are hidden in almost every product out there. And, I don't want to say hidden necessarily, but the consumer is not trained to look for them. So it'll be hidden in plain sight, right? And these filler agents make up about 95% of any given product. And all the companies use them because it's cheap. They're moisturizing. They don't create an allergy per se, so they don't get an immediate feedback that there's an issue. Otherwise, they'd stop. And they basically have a long shelf life. So that's what most companies are interested in. Long shelf life, cheap, doesn't create initial reaction that would cause them to use something else. So ethyl hexyl palmitate is a huge one that's in a lot of makeup and moisturizers and sunscreens. And then isopropyl myristate is in a lot of lotions, sunscreens. It's even in the Retin-A, the white cream one, and that's why a lot of people break out more from it. So there's about 100 of these things. So we made a checker for people. It's really easy. Just copy and paste the ingredient deck to everything that you're using, put it in the checker. It will tell you in red if there's something that's very likely to break you out. So that alone solves the external part of acne for the most part. There's also the conversation of exfoliation. People who break out, we tend to genetically have something called retention hyperkeratosis, which is a long way of saying we make extra keratin protein, our pores get clogged more easily. So because of that natural tendency, we need to exfoliate a little more consistently than people who just don't break out. So the external side of acne is pore clogging ingredients. Get them out of there. There's zero tolerance policy, right? And then exfoliating the right amount for your skin. Exfoliating consistently with the right tools for your skin. Then there's the internal side of acne, and that's where people get kind of lost at sea. But there's food triggers and there's vitamin triggers that affect nearly everyone. The food triggers in order of importance are dairy, which includes whey protein. It can include colostrum. It includes milk, cheese, even Greek yogurt, which I know is a bummer, but there's a lot of non-dairy alternatives out there now. So, and even if it's raw, it still has what's called insulin-like growth factor hormones. I'm sure you're familiar with that. IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor hormone. So that hormone can actually give us hormonal acne right around our mouth. Dairy tends to break you out on your chin, and you'll notice it within like 1 to 2 days. So if you have a bunch of pizza or a bunch of ice cream, or like a huge whey protein shake, you'll probably notice it in your chin like the next morning when you wake up. So at least that makes it easy to track, right? So dairy and its subcategories are the top food trigger. And then second to that is eggs. Eggs is a tricky one because we're so conditioned to think that eggs and egg white protein are like the best, cleanest protein ever. And for some people they are. For some people it's a superfood. For others, it actually creates an unwanted immune reaction due to the type of protein in there, and it can create acne in the lymphatic zone. That was actually what Kayleigh was struggling with, and you can see her before and after on our our Clearstem Instagram page. It was right in the lymphatic zone and like on her lymph nodes. That's where eggs get you, so it'll appear a little differently than dairy. Yeah. And then other ones are, systemic inflammation from gluten and too much sugar. So we always recommend people follow a low glycemic diet. If you're going to have sugar, make sure you're pairing it with protein first, protein at every meal, that kind of thing. And then gluten is a big cause for acne among I would say 30% of people. It is the biggest thing still breaking them out. Everyone's a little individualistic when it comes to gluten, but those are the biggest food triggers. The other pocket of internal triggers is going to be vitamins. Sorry, there's a lot here.
I love it.
Vitamins,
I love it.
certain vitamins, we're all taking stuff to try to be healthier, right? Some of them can spike our testosterone when they're in too high of a dose.
Okay. Yeah,
so it can be, I've seen people break out from too much B12, too much vitamin D, too much zinc. And again, the key word here is, excess or too much. And we can go more into that later if you want to. But yeah, too much vitamin D, too much zinc, too much B12. And biotin actually creates more of that keratin production process. So when you get hair, skin, and nail gummy is going to have 10,000% RDV of biotin. That clogs our pores even more and can give us other bumps, little bumps on our arms and things like that. So it's an acne aggravator.
That makes a lot of, that makes a lot of sense. And do you ladies have that chart or diagram or on the website about how what Kayleigh went down with right here and on the chin? Do you guys have that sort of explained on the website? Because people, I'm going to tell you, are going to I'm going to go look at my face right now.
Yeah, the face mapping thing, God, they're all kind of useful. Some can send you down a rabbit hole, like one spot on your inner cheek and you think it's your gallbladder. It's probably your blush, babe. Literally, it's probably your blush. Sis, check for pore cloggers, then remove all those, then look at face mapping, right? Because if there's something that's going all over your face, it's something that you're putting all over your face. It's probably your makeup or your skincare. So yeah, we do need to make a face map, Kayleigh. We need to try and make face map version 1, version 2 to different phases of where they're at in their journey.
Yes. I think phases is a really important aspect because as Danielle mentioned in the beginning, there's a few really simple things you can start with. So there's the phase 1 of face mapping where some of the causes of your acne is external from pore cloggers. So if you use makeup at all and there is a pathway of breakouts where you'd put a blush or a bronzer or it's all over where you put a foundation or a sunscreen, that's version 1 of face mapping is the topicals. And then version 2 is the internal that very much does overlap with Chinese medicine because it can be different digestive pathways, lymphatic pathways. It absolutely can be a sluggish liver or kidneys that are going on. But we always find the simple checklist first with removing all pore cloggers, see how your skin balances out, and then get a really clear picture of where your acne is. Because again, back to the acne is internal and external. External is the fastest thing to change when it comes to acne because again, you just remove the pore cloggers, you bring in products that do not have any pore cloggers and you are eliminating that factor. Now you can see where the acne pathways are coming from as far as internal.
Wow. And this is so interesting because when you guys factor in the external, what you put on, and I don't want to butcher this because I'm not an expert in skin. So I'm saying when you see products on the shelf that say, and am I saying it salicylic acids, and you see the main ingredients, are those at all helpful at all? Or are they very detrimental? Do they have byproducts that may not be the best for skin? I'm not sure. Can you explain any of that for me?
Definitely. So if you hop over to a CVS or anywhere, any skincare aisle, anywhere, you're going to see salicylic acid. Salicylic acid is pretty helpful. It's just not the strongest tool available. And so people don't always see the results they really need. So generally salicylic acid, you see that for like teenage acne or mild acne, and it can be appropriate. Like say your 11-year-old is starting to get those little bumps, salicylic acid is absolutely where you should start, right? Get a little serum or something for them.
Yeah.
It's a beta hydroxy acid. So there's alpha hydroxy acids and beta hydroxy acids. Salicylic is the beta hydroxy acid that everyone has used at some point, but you can only really get it in a 2% strength. So it's a beta acid and it's a 2% strength generally. So it's like helpful, but not that strong. For people who are seriously acne prone or they have a lot of congestion, they want to get a mandelic acid. Mandelic acid is the Goldilocks of acids. It's a lot stronger than salicylic because it's an alpha hydroxy acid. And then it's not as irritating as a glycolic acid. So it's right in that sweet spot, and it's well tolerated by nearly everyone, even if you have rosacea. And it's also effective against fungal acne. So why you want to use an acid like mandelic is because it's going to physically dissolve the congestion as it kills the bacteria. So all acne, if you like were to do a professional extraction, it all has this like nucleus, this like center in it, this ball. And it's a ball of like either pore clogging, like residue from your makeup that clogged your pore mixed with that extra keratin protein. So it's kind of this like waxy little protein ball. And like,
it just sticks in there and just clogs the whole thing up. And can you have a whole bunch of them stuck together?
Oh, I've seen a client with they used coconut oil. They were drying their skin out accidentally and then using coconut oil on top of it, which is the perfect storm for acne. So I literally pulled out hundreds. I did a 2-hour extraction session. I numbed this person first, then did it because he just wanted them all out. And I was like, all right, let's do this. Like canceled my whole day. Like we're doing this. And I literally take the extractions out and I put them on a paper towel next to their face and I show them afterwards. And there were hundreds of these little orange balls that were so hardened. I squeezed it as hard as I could and it didn't even budge. Like there was no way this person was going to be able to naturally sweat that out.
And I'm asking, they wouldn't be able to necessarily like try to pop them out themselves. It'd be very tough and difficult. And it's 'cause it's so hard and it's hard pieces. So is that like when you see that and they get that, like people are putting coconut oil in their face a lot of times too, and they're putting things on there. When you have like your facial, the facial scrub, it has those components like herbals too. And you have like that acid in there, or do you have like a separate acid wash to like pull that stuff out of the pores? Or do you guys have like the herbal combinations?
It's definitely the perfect combination. So the face wash that you held up earlier, our vitamin scrub, you view that one, that green one that you have, view that as the gatekeeper. So that is the physical exfoliant that's going to help exfoliate off dead skin cells, but also be the gatekeeper for the pore, because serums are where a lot of the action is done. But if the serums can't physically get in the pore to do their job, they're just kind of sitting on top of the skin. So you need that physical exfoliant to be that gatekeeper. And then you would use, we have our Clarity serum, which is our mandelic acid. That goes in there and physically dissolves the clog inside the pore. I know. So it's like, you're right. You gatekeep it out, you get it in there. And what's so important to know about acids, very specifically AHA, alpha hydroxy acids, like our mandelic acid serum, is it has to sit about 15 minutes in order to do its job. So if you want it to, it'll eat away at anything it touches. And so if you put something on your skin first and then put it on, it's just going to eat away that product. Or if you put it on and then immediately put on another moisturizer, it's just going to dilute it and cause it to not be able to actually do its work. So you want to put on the mandelic acid serum, let it sit, let it actually dissolve the clogs for about 15 minutes. And then you can follow with all the amazing non-pore clogging, moisturizing parts of your routine.
So it's 15 minutes because like if I put it on there, I'm such a rusher. I'll just do it for like 2 minutes. I'm so sorry. Okay. So I should be watching.
But you can do the rest of your evening routine because you want to use that in the evening. That's not a daytime product. So you'll exfoliate at night and then you'll put the serum on. And then I don't know if you make tea at night, if you take any supplements for bed, brushing your teeth, reading a book, anything you want to do before bed. Danielle and I have typically the rest of our skincare routine next to our bedside because we'll exfoliate, we'll do our mandelic acid serum, and then brush our teeth, get into bed, maybe read, relax, and then after about 15 minutes, just finish our routine in bed. So that's also an option. You don't have to like walk around your house and wait 15 minutes. You can just get into bed and finish the rest of your skincare routine while you're laying in bed.
Oh, and I love this because like when you put the mandelic acid on, maybe I'm getting too nerdy about it, but like for Danielle, you're talking about the gentleman that had like the 200. Like, did you find like after you started using the mandelic and stuff like that, he was starting to stay super clear and like the clogs were staying on, the pores were staying unclogged?
Yes. So we figured out, first of all, you got to figure out what's causing the problem, right? You don't want to just throw things at the, like he could have gotten a mandelic acid serum, but still been using coconut oil as moisturizer, and he would have just been chasing his tail. So our biggest thing is helping people identify what the issue is in the first place. And that is what is missed in the rest of the acne world. You know, you can't just like add on all these quote solutions unless you don't know what the problem is first, right? Like, how do you know if it's the solution if you don't know what the problem is? So anyway, that's where the pore clogging conversation comes in. So we got rid of all of those. Also, his sunscreen was breaking him out. So I kept it simple. I just got him a moisturizer that wouldn't break him out and a sunscreen that wouldn't break him out. And then this, I put him on a strong mandelic acid. I put him on like a 10% or 11% solution and got him exfoliating every night with it. He was a little dry, but he was just wanting to get all those things out because they were destroying his skin. And when you have the clogs, it's destroying the surrounding collagen. That infection is eating away your collagen and creating scarring. So you're better off going a little stronger to get to the point where you get clear, and then you can pare down your exfoliation. So, but yeah, he started getting clear right away. We jump started it with all those extractions, and then I did a treatment on him at my clinic. So we got like probably, maybe 70% of it all out in that first visit. And then I got him on the right routine. I saw him 2 weeks later. He was a different human, like walking different, like had the confidence to ask that girl out. Like his life was different, and it was just one of the most satisfying moments as a practitioner.
Oh, I mean, you guys must feel great because I mean, like you just said, like if the pores clogged, right, and you start cleaning out, it can damage the collagen. You have to flush it out, and then you got to do the proper duties to help it heal because scarring is such a big thing. I mean, and you guys had amazing stories. Like you had Accutane 3 times,
and it came right back.
And I just don't like. You guys know the drill. I know, like when I hear like Kayleigh's like I was on birth control, I was like, oh my god, like
I know
the injury. I'm saying the injury and the trauma internally. I don't want to get off track here, but I'm saying like you both went through big traumas. When you start to heal your skin, and maybe this is like a little bit too much far out there kind of question, but people out there listening are like, when you start healing your skin, are you finding that people are like, they're feeling better emotionally and, like with their traumas? Have you found anything like that?
We always say that clear skin changes everything. It really does, because when you are dealing with any skin issues, and it can be acne, severe scar damage, psoriasis, eczema, any skin issues, that's how you're presenting yourself. And that's a lot of the times where you're seeing yourself. You look in the mirror and that's the first thing you see. And this is really speaking from experience. When I was really aggressively dealing with my acne, I didn't want to look in mirrors because I became obsessive about looking in the mirror to be like, oh, there's a new one. And I already had like 30 on my cheek. And I'd be like, I could still spot new ones. And you get so obsessed with it. So it causes you to fixate on it. And then you look at your face and it doesn't look like you anymore. And then you go out and meet people or talk to people and you think that's all that they're staring at because you can feel it. And because you're so fixated on it, that's all you're thinking about. And imagine people dealing with this for years, sometimes decades.
Yes.
We have people that come to us in their 30s, in their 40s that haven't had a break since their teenage years. And we are the first company and products and education that has cleared their skin. So imagine someone dealing with acne for 10, 20 years and just thinking they have to live like that for the rest of their life and then experiencing their skin clear. It is truly life-changing for people. And that's what makes Danielle and I so excited every day. And that's why we love getting in person with our community, with talking with our community. That is something that we never want to stop doing because it really fills us up and motivates us to keep reaching more people through our education, through our products to truly not only transform people's skin, but also transform their lives. A lot of times we're a catalyst for other things in people's lives to flourish and transform.
Yeah, I mean, we draw from our personal experiences daily in our work, and our top core value in our company is to be one with the customer on that emotional frequency level. Yeah, it's bigger than just skin. I mean, I was in like a emotionally abusive relationship for years because I didn't think I could do any better. And it was because of my skin. It impacts your entire life. Like it can change the trajectory of your life.
I mean, I know you guys know this, but like I went through some old books, some old Chinese medicine books, and they were saying that it changes your whole trajectory. That the heart expresses its happiness through the glow of your skin. Like that's like one way that in
Wow.
Chinese medicine, you look at the glow and you go, that person's heart's happy. And to me, like when people say, well, is it more cosmetic? I'm like, no, in my opinion, the skin shows how healthy your internal side is. And so, in no way am I saying somebody has acne that you have bad insides. I don't say that at all. I'm saying like there's trauma or there's toxicities. And that's what, I mean, guys out there, I'm just telling you, like, you look at some of these ingredients and I'm serious. I'm super impressed. So you've been through the trauma and my heart goes out with you guys, and you guys have run, powered through this and found a solution. So when you're finding solution and you got real nerdy about it, that's the word I could say, and you were like, okay, I found these, the herbs. How was that approach? Like, did you guys, like, I know you studied herbs, or you guys, because you're a biologist, you did research, Kayleigh, you're going into this, you're nutrition experts. Did you have like certain herbs you like the best, or how was your approach?
Yes, I've studied at the very surface level. I've studied. Can't talk today. Very surface level. I've studied herbs, and you just kind of get to know the ones that are anti-inflammatory, the ones that are detoxing, the ones that can help with like male hormones, androgens. So you get familiar with these things. And a lot of this was just through the course of my own trying to solve my own skin, and a lot of trial and error. I'm the first one to donate myself as a guinea pig. So I've tried literally everything. The herbs I think you're talking about, I mean, there's willow herb in our formulas. There's arnica. We're big fans of that. And then there's turmeric in a lot of our formulas, but not enough to stain your skin or stain your towels, because turmeric likes to do that. Green tea is amazing, both internally and externally. So we put that in our products. And we also encourage people to drink green tea instead of coffee a lot of the time. And then there's some other herbs too, like saw palmetto, that can help with androgens and kind of like the hormonal side of acne. So we have a big network of people that are super specialists and subject matter experts in these things. So we have consulted with people at various stages in the product development life cycle. And we even have a nutrigenomic consultant on staff who helps us formulate our supplements. So we take it very seriously, and we're quite meticulous, and we only use our own stuff. So it's like we're making the best stuff for ourselves. Why wouldn't we make it amazing?
Oh, that's what, to me, when you know that people put a lot of care into the products that they produce. The reason I like the way you guys are speaking about how you're healing your internal aspects is that you guys take into account literally like what's going on inside of your body. Can we shift, and not shifting too far away from this, like with skin, and you're talking about traumas and emotions, how you researched in your own lives, did you guys have like different shifts or paths, or what approach did you take to like change your own nutrition, change your own internal environment? I'm not trying to make you give me a whole complete history, because I don't want you guys to think I'm trying to make you think too far back. But were there changes that you guys give to your clients and to help them out as well, like on the internal environment? So you're cleaning this out here. Hormonally, things can shift inside. Are there some basic things you guys love to talk about or dive into?
Yeah, Danielle went through a lot of the internal triggers as it relates to food and supplements. So we have a checklist. When people come to our website, they can take our quiz and they'll receive that. You'll also find our checklist across our socials, throughout our blog. And so we always find that elimination first to get rid of all the variables. And then we do provide swaps for everything. So for the people that are like, oh my gosh, oh no, I eat eggs every single day. And we describe exactly where the pathway of acne comes from eating eggs every day. And they remove, they remove eggs and they start to see the acne go away. But they're like, oh my gosh, I actually have no idea what else to eat. I've been eating eggs every day for years. We provide a ton of swaps for people. And so we always recommend, like for eggs, you can always swap out an organic chicken sausage. We're also just big fans in general of just, dinner for breakfast. So just like making extra dinner, because it's usually a little more protein focused, and protein is incredible to have in the morning. So if you're making steak or chicken or, like any form of protein in dinner, just heating up it again for breakfast. And that can be just as convenient and save you time. When it comes to smoothies, we always recommend lower glycemic and make sure you're putting something crunchy in there. So you're at least activating your digestive enzymes while you're having a smoothie, or else you can get a little bit bloated because those enzymes just don't have time to activate with like a really stocked up smoothie and no releasing of the enzymes in there. But we always educate about swaps, whether we're doing it through our social pages, to our blogs, because we never want to ever present something you should eliminate or present a problem without also presenting the solution for that person. We never want to create overwhelm or fear of foods, because the foods that we talk about and supplements that in excess can trigger acne, it's not that these foods are horrible things. Eggs are not horrible. Eggs are a great source of protein, but can be triggering for someone who's struggling with acne or any gut issues. Typically, when you're going to see a functional medicine practitioner and going through a traditional elimination diet, eggs is one of those things that are removed for a period of time to remove that inflammation. And so again, we always recommend through these eliminations to eliminate for about 6 to 8 weeks. And then you can slowly integrate them back in one at a time to see how your body responds, but also see your thresholds. Because eggs specifically, eggs is an easy one because it's one that a lot of people have. It could be that your threshold might not be every single day for eggs. Maybe you just can't have them every day, but maybe you can have eggs twice a week and be completely fine and not break out. So that gets you 2 breakfasts, and then now you're just swapping the other ones. And so everyone's body is bio-individual. We never like to speak in black and white. We always say test, see what works for you, your body type, eliminate, bring it back in. But we do provide that really simplified checklist that gives you kind of boundaries to operate within when it comes to acne.
So it's so amazing. So you guys can look at a person's face. So Danielle, like for the guy that your extractions, you could look at when Kayleigh first came in, you could see the pattern. You then could associate it with the food. You can recommend to your clients and to the people coming to your website, okay, let's eliminate this food for a while, maybe add it back in, see if it changes, and then we can start seeing clear skin. So the person actually gets a physical, an actual accomplishment, and they're like, yes, I can do it. So you can get this. I mean, you can tell that with the research behind it. And again, we know there's some things we can replace. But I keep going back to this because I know you guys, I can tell you guys are very heartfelt, but people out there listening too are saying that, like you said, that not only was the chemical trauma that caused my breakouts, but Danielle, you're saying like I went through a horrific relationship. When you have that, are there any type of emotional or spiritual like healing techniques, or did you find more out about yourself through this whole journey with skin?
We're both big proponents of therapy and coaches for specific initiatives. I think in doing therapy, I realized how much my skin had played a role in my self-worth and my perception of what I could get or what I deserved. So yeah, that I analyzed it after the fact that way, and then I'm more aware of it now. So it is more of I get like a spiritual reminder when say like we travel all the time, and I'm a little bit of a rebel, so sometimes like we'll be traveling, there's events, we're drinking, and then you can't control what you eat, and I'll still get like a breakout here and there, and then I'll feel that like crushing self-esteem issue again, and I'll just be more in tune with myself. Like, okay, it's not everything falling apart again. It's not going to be the way it was. I know why this happened. I know exactly what to do to get rid of it. Next week it'll be gone and you'll feel different. So it's less hopelessness and more like being kind to yourself and having compassion is something you can do. But when you're in it, and you're just like hopeless and so frustrated, it's really hard to get to a peaceful state. I've not met many people that can maintain true inner peace when their skin is out of control. And those are the people that we really want to be the heroes for.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Because I mean, again, you guys know this, but people out there, if you're watching the videos, you can tell like with your faces, you guys are very warm individuals. And Danielle, I could tell you that you could be, like you say, the rebel, like a very supportive individual, or people could like again, I'd say with Danielle though, everybody could probably think that you could support everybody else. Like, and so I always say self-esteem. Like, did I do enough? Did I take care of enough people? And did I do enough to keep people going? And when you said like, I feel very self-esteem getting lowered, and in the Chinese medicine world, they would say that that's a really good stomach spleen quality. So if you feel like you have that earthiness, like I want to support people, I want to make sure that everybody else is taken care of. The first thing will happen whenever you feel like skin comes up, you'd be like, oh goodness, I didn't support everybody, or I'm putting myself down, or I didn't do enough. And to me, it's just evident though that whenever you use your products and you're cleaning your skin out and you have that way out, it's like literally you're treating your organs. Like that's what I love about this. It's like you're actually, to me, that's how I view it. I know it's a weird nerd way to do it, but because people say, well, what can Clearstem do that? Yes, it can. That's what it does. Kayleigh's got that. She's got more of that. I could tell what she would do though. If something happened, she would go, what do I need to do next? And she would try to rush off and do the next thing to get it done. Like she would try to make something like I got to make this grow. I got to do something else to accomplish that. And I'm like, guarantee
how do you know? I am
Guarantee
extremely disciplined. I'm like, give me a routine to follow and I'll follow it.
Guarantee it.
On.
Like I was like, you both have different ways you would approach it. But the first thing, like Daniel, when you said putting myself down or devaluation, it's like you just said loving, like giving love like to your body and say, yo, I understand this. It's okay. I know the steps. And then not having like rules for like, no, I got the steps now, like Kayleigh, to solve this. And I'm saying this, and I hope that didn't confuse everybody out there. I'm just saying that you can take the product, right? No matter what your personality is, no matter how you approach it, if you have clear skin, you're taking care of your body and you have this glow, you're emotionally going to feel good internally. You're going to push those kind of feelings aside that don't need to be there. And so, anyway, I went down that whole emotional route, but that's how I feel about skin, because I can't tell you how many times, and you guys have seen it too. People come to the office and, I've literally had some that lay down on the table here and they're like, oh, don't look here. That's what they'll say. Don't look here at that. And I'm like, oh, don't worry about that. It's not a big deal. And, so whenever you see these things, you are actually healing like emotions, and you're healing chemistry, and you're healing the body. One of the things too that people may ask me to ask you is, what are your thoughts? Like, okay, so somebody has really bad, condition, bad acne. They're having hormonal issues. We want to go down that route about hormonal acne. And I know we've talked about it. Are there telltale signs that you yourselves would tell somebody like, you may want to go get your hormones checked when they have like a breakout?
Yeah, definitely. PCOS is rampant, and it's like on a range. So there are some people that have PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, or they actually have like cysts that have either burst or that they can see via ultrasound, like on their ovaries. And it's more common than you'd think, and it goes underdiagnosed more than you'd think, because you can't just go and get an ultrasound at any appointment. You have to go through your referrals and get this and that, and they want to put you on meds first, and it's hard to like jump to the care that you like really need, especially if you have an HMO. So there are telltale signs though. So we ask people like, okay, are your periods regular? That's the first question. If they're not regular, yes, something is going on hormonally. Time to do some blood work. That's why we have the acne lab panel. It'll look at all the, normal hormonal markers that conventional blood work will look at, but we also look at markers that can detect like heavy metals or candida or mold. We're seeing a lot of H. pylori. We're seeing a lot of hormonal stuff that's coming from other things like heavy metals, for example.
Wow.
So, but the period question is number one. And then if there's any like unwanted hair, like extra facial hair or something like that, or if someone like seems to sweat a lot, that can be a hormonal thing as well. We mainly eliminate the normal things that we're seeing all the time, like people taking too many vitamins and supplements that are spiking their testosterone. That's like nearly everybody is on something that's doing that. And we take so many supplements that we're doubling up on certain things without realizing it.
Wow. Because, I mean, you guys know this too. Like, there's a lot of people that come to me and they're like, Doc, I don't, my rule, hopefully, I hope I go by this. Like, I don't try, my mentor always told me like, don't go over 4 to 5 supplements. That's it. but you see it too. They'll come in, they'll have 20 or 30.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh,
I've seen people come with
so
40
many.
more.
Yeah.
You guys have seen it. I know you guys have
Yeah.
So are you saying that, when they have all the supplements though, that it would overload like liver, because it could overload the liver has too much to do and it pushes out through the skin?
Yeah. So back to the eliminating factors first, and then getting a real clear picture of the internal. So evaluating your supplements and where a lot of them are overlapping. And the supplements category has taken a mind of its own, it seems, in the market now, because it's no longer just capsules. You have it in greens powder, in protein powders, in drinks. Like, supplements exist what feels like everywhere. And it really is a marketing play of, so different brands can differentiate themselves in the market. They'll add immune function, they'll add energy. And in order to make those claims on the packaging, you're adding those corresponding nutrients. So for energy, a lot of times you're adding a lot of B12. For immune, you're adding a lot of zinc and vitamin D. That way you can make those claims on the front of the packaging.
Wow.
And because more and more companies are always launching and you want to differentiate yourself in the market, that's why you see so many beverages, like functional beverages. Functional, and when I say functional, it means like nutrients, adaptogens, things added to it beyond the norm. So sodas and green juices and proteins and on-the-go bars and shots and all the things, right? So when you're looking at supplements, you're looking at what's in your supplement cabinet, but also all the other powders and beverages you're ingesting throughout the day. And so we always recommend taking a complete audit of it, put them all right in front of you, turn them around so you can see the nutrient panel. And the big ones that are going to have an impact on your hormones when in excess are going to be B12, D, and zinc. Those are the big ones. And then one that contributes to acne, but doesn't necessarily have an effect on hormones, but still an important one to look out for, is, oh my gosh, Danielle, where's my brain going?
Biotin.
Biotin. I kept wanting to say colostrum over and over again in my head.
That's one too.
Which is another one too. Yeah. But biotin. And so excess amounts of B12, vitamin D, zinc, and biotin. Some other ones that we're seeing also that I just want to kind of put an asterisk on is excess amounts of ashwagandha, spirulina, and stevia.
Yeah.
And so taking a look at all of those and seeing where it just goes to a bit of an extreme amount, where they're overlapping a ton, removing where you can. So again, not suggesting removing any supplements when you're on a specific doctor protocol, but if you're just for fun taking all of these, then I recommend removing them for a period of time, and getting, again, a baseline of your body. And then if you're still really aggressively struggling with acne, again, you've removed all those external pore cloggers, you've removed the known internal triggers, see where your body's baseline is. If you're still really struggling with acne, that is a sign that it's a little more bio-individual internally. And that's where Danielle talked about, we have our acne lab panel that we run. And we actually tie a bit of the emotional component into this, which I want to share. But the markers that we test for over 86 markers, and where we've seen acne link back to is a lot of chronic inflammation, toxicity, sluggish liver, kidneys, spleen, immune issues, inflammation, stress, blood sugar, bacteria, fungus, yeast, heavy metals. And so all this shows up on the blood work, right? And everyone that goes through our acne lab panel is automatically put into our membership. Our membership is incredible because it has videos that explain a lot of this as it relates to acne. But the most important function of it is more of the emotional side of it. There's chat groups in it. And so everyone gets to share what they're going through, the protocols and their wins and their experience. So for instance, some people, as you know, when you're going through detox protocols, sometimes there can be a purge as it's getting out of your system. And it's so fun to see everyone in the chat function of the group encourage other people. So they'll be like, someone new that went through it, and she'll be like, I'm going through a purge. How long did this last? And then you'll see other people chime in. Oh, don't worry. Mine was only 2 weeks. I promise you there's light on the other end of the tunnel. Like just get through the 2-week purge and then your skin starts to clear up. And then they're all giving each other suggestions for breakfast, lunch, and dinners and just like different tips and tricks. And that's the emotional component, because with acne, people do really feel like they're going through it alone. And when you have other people that have really dealt with aggressive acne, that have all gone through this blood work and they're all getting to talk to each other, it's such an emotional support that's needed to get through some of these healing protocols that can be tough to emotionally get through and to stick to. So it's motivation of like the protocols are typically about 3 months. And so that takes dedication and some discipline. And so it can be really encouraging in the chat group to just keep people accountable and see the most incredible results with their skin. And it's been really cool to see actually how many practitioners have been born from that program. Like there's so many people who have like gone through their journey, cleared their skin, like it completely flipped their life upside down, that now they want to go help other people. And then they're enrolling in like naturopathic medicine programs in schools, or NTP or IHP, or just health coaches, because they're just so inspired to help other people. And so that's been a really fun part of what we do.
You guys are crushing it. And I'm not trying to interrupt you guys. And this is like, and I want to give you like one thing that it's a testimony to your guys, what you are doing for people with skincare. And if I bore you to death, just say, Motley, let's move on. I promise. But there's a point. It hits home because recently, I won't name any names, but a patient come in and always had good skin, right? And she come in, and then within 2.5 weeks, when I saw her face completely broke out, like almost like cystic acne all over her face. Right. So, me, I'm an investigator. I was like, okay, so what happened? And I'm looking through everything, and I found out, they're getting mad at me for getting off the screen, but who cares? Okay.
No, we want to know.
Like,
love this.
Chinese medicine doll, but like what happened, and you guys know nerd time. Here we go, guys.
Love it.
Okay, so like this whole area got pretty jarred. When I looked and I scanned, I found out that these points were super, super hot on her, and these are lung twos, right? Yeah. So my first thought was, okay, lung 2. I checked it, and I found through like some frequency scanning. I have some devices here. I found frequency of strep. Okay, so I found strep. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so strep hit, and I took my scanner and I took the frequency of the strep, and it was all over her throat right here. And I went, okay.
Motley, we see a lot of strep in our blood work as underlying strep for sometimes like 10 years.
She had it when she was a kid. She had it so bad. She goes, I had strep 5 times. And I was like, well, this strep's coming to the surface, right? And I was like, now it's finally coming to the surface. So she had the strep, right? So I'm thinking, okay, well, I hit the nail on the head. I'm like, yes, did it. And I think, then I could tell, like, I was like, well, why in the world would strep come up right now in the last 2 weeks? So I was like, lung 2, I was like, are you grieving about anything? Right? Lungs are grief. Lungs are sadness. Lungs are crying. I want to cry something out. I'd have tears that come out. And she goes, I don't know, but I've been wanting to cry really badly the last such and such weeks. And I was like, okay, well, you know me, I try to sound smart. And I said, well, this has to be, grief or something. So we start cleaning up, and I saw her again, guys, like 2 weeks later, and skin looked a little bit better. We started to kill the strep off. I had to put on a homeopathic. Looked a little bit better. It was cleaning up. This was the kicker. And again, I'm very sensitive about her case, so I'm not going to say anything, but she had told me she had found out something about a family member. So pretty harsh and traumatic. And her body knew without any words being spoken.
Wow.
And her body knew, and it broke out when the events happened in her family without words being spoken. Her body felt, her lungs grieved. And this is the kick. I was reading through my books, and I was like, well, the lungs control the skin of the body. And they are the skin not in Chinese medicine, German medicine is protection. It's protection. I got to protect. I got to keep the gate, right? We know that. But her body felt that. Isn't that crazy? Like she knew something came and she had to protect herself. And then that strep came out of the lungs, like, because it was like overgrowing in the lungs, and it was all about protection. And when she recognized it and was conscious of it, her skin started to clear up.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
Isn't that crazy?
I love stories
I'm not, it wasn't me. I was just like, her skin, like literally from the time she told me, she recognized it. And she goes, I'm aware of it. I know the patterns. I know what I'm going through. I've actually done the work. And then she came back, her skin cleared up. Like, what is going on? Like, to me, that's what I'm saying. The beauty of skin, like knowing how to work with the skin, like you guys are doing that. And that's why I'm appreciating that you guys use functional medicine. You guys are going through and testing things. Yeah. Didn't want to go through story time, but I wanted to say, like, you guys give people the ability to find the infections, go through this. What would be the steps? Would they go into your website and I go into the community and there's like, they could sign up for a test of some sort to get into that, you know, getting tested and such?
Yeah. For our acne lab panel, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can find it on our website. What is it under? Is it under resources? It's like we only have a few tabs on our website. And so you can look up like Clearstem acne lab panel, and that'll be the first thing that just pops up for you. It's under, let's see, explore. I just want to find it exactly for you guys so you know where to go. So you head to our website, you go to...
If you just type in Clearstem acne panel, it'll come up right there.
It'll come right up?
Perfect. Yeah.
So you guys are like, this is what I love. Okay, so you guys can get the panel. You can get into the membership. You can support each other emotionally. Where do you guys... I mean, with the business with Clearstem, what are you guys going to, like, you see it growing to? Like, I know it's great now, so don't think I'm like not saying, like, do you guys have like a vision of like just creating this huge community and like different products even more? Or do you guys like to refine it, keep it into like a small set of products?
Your question is, the timing is serendipitous. So we have so much information, and the funny thing is like, that's what people need. And that's how we've always led, like knowing what people need to hear, like what they're not getting from other sources. But in order to reach like take the company as big as it could be and, partner with like a major retailer, we almost have to simplify, like not dumb it down, but like focus on core messaging, simplify to amplify is essentially what we need to do.
Yeah. So that's great. That's great.
Yeah, we have a really good amount of skincare products. We'll have a few more coming out over the next few years. We're never going to stop innovating, but we really have a lot of supplements. We just launched a few very innovative ones. We have our hormonal acne supplement, which is like kind of what we're known for. And it's called Mind, Body, Skin. It addresses the mind and the stress component first, because we're huge on that. It actually has something in it. It helps with wide spectrum liver support. It has vitamin A. It has DIM for estrogen metabolism. It has turmeric. It has a digestive blend. It has vitamin B5. And then it also has 5-HTP. 5-HTP is really good for stress and PMS stress. And
really?
It's a stress that women carry around all day, every day, that doesn't really have an outlet, right? Because like being alive is stressful, and like being a woman requires so much of you. So we made it to address the mind component first. There's a lot of 5-HTP in there, which helps people calm down, feel better, be able to move through some of the things. But anyway, I digress. We to supplement our primary supplement, we actually created some other ones that affect your well-being from within, but also through the lens of like the mind and being calm. Like we made our Pillow Time Magnesium, which helps you feel nice and relaxed. Like you take it an hour before bed. It like de-stresses you. There's L-theanine in there. There's a tiny bit of melatonin, and the magnesium makes you naturally feel relaxed. So like all of our products are meant to just like heal the body and the mind at the same time. And so we're going to be really focusing on that, but we want to curate specific like kits, if you will, or like routines, so that people can be taking the right things for them in a simpler way, rather than trying to like, find like, what do I need, and do all this research and find one thing at a time. We're working on our messaging to see how we can simplify a routine, whether it's skincare or supplements, so people can know they're like checking all the bases and de-stressing at the same time by taking the guesswork out of what they should do next.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, I don't say that like from a business standpoint, it's totally brilliant. And, but emotionally you're helping people, and you're actually going to have like this system, which is amazing. I think that I'm all for it. I think definitely have the supplements for the skincare and for the stress.
Yeah.
You guys are.
Thank you, Motley. We love to be a gateway for people's transformation. So wherever they're finding us, we have the more simplify to amplify approach where people may just find us through the supplement or may just find us through removing pore cloggers and replacing with Clearstem. And then our hope and our dream is they continue down and they just get to know their body more, because sometimes it takes a while for people to get to that emotional component because, you know, pore cloggers and the supplement, it's easier to understand. So we have a bit of a funnel with our consumer, and that's why we love podcasting so much. We love this podcast with you because we get to go deeper. And so our hope is to like the gateway through a more simplified education. And then you listen to the podcast we've been on, you read our blog, and that's where you get to really dive deeper and start to uncover things about your body that you never knew, that you get to become more intuitive. You start to connect the dots with emotions and skin and everything. But I'd say that's always Danielle and I's biggest struggle is like, we have so much we want to share, and to reach to make the biggest transformation with people is starting with the simplified approach and then letting them kind of choose their own adventure through all of our education and dive deeper where they feel inspired to.
I mean, it truly, I mean, I'm so thankful you ladies came on here. I'm not kidding, because when like the simplification, like you said, amplify, simplify. And to me, I always think about when you're clearing out your skin, and you guys said this before, but I want to remind everybody out there, remember, like, I love reports because we used to do a lot of like research stuff back in school, but they would say like, you know, your skin, I mean, I can't, you know, basically harp this enough. But if you like clean up your skin, you think about all those little nerve receptors that go to your brain from your face. And you think about all this, the nerves that are connected to your skin. And like you just said, like really you are able to get in touch with your body if your skin's clear. It's literally a reverse action too. You clear the skin out, it's going to send some healing energy internally.
Yes.
And there is no joke about that. I don't care what anybody says. Like you can, you know, using the right proper tools like you guys are doing, you can literally heal the inner child, inner body. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. Okay, so you guys have this awesome pathway. Where can people find you on Instagram, on socials? Where can we find you?
On all socials, we are Clearstem Skincare. Our website is clearstem.com. Some of those resources we shared, we have the quiz that you can take that'll give you a lot of information. We have our acne lab panel and our pore clogging ingredients checker. All of that can be found on our website. And then our personal socials, we love to go deeper and integrate a lot more of what we talked about today through our personal socials. Danielle's is Danielle, the acne guru, and mine is Kayleigh Christina.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Guys, we gotta be friends on Instagram. Okay.
Can't wait.
Seriously. I'm not kidding. All right. Okay. I mean, I love just asking you guys questions. I can go really about skincare because I have so many patients that have some skin stuff. Okay. But I want to ask you both, like, we always ask what's coming up next, but I have some fun questions too. But really quickly, both of you, what is your favorite music?
Oh gosh.
I love country.
Country for Kayleigh.
I love country. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. That's like asking to choose between all of your children. Oh my God. Okay. I would have to say upbeat, happy house music.
Ooh,
Okay,
yeah.
upbeat, happy house music, because I love to know about personalities.
I'm adding
But
alternative
my favorite
rock
artist
to
is Billy
mine.
Joel.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like a 90s child. You give me some like Pearl Jam and Third Eye Blind, I'd be like, okay, let's go.
That's been my list all week. I put in I didn't put in Third Eye Blind. Oh, I put in Vertical Horizon Radio 5 days ago, and that's all I've been listening to for 5 straight days. So I'm like, that's Third Eye Blind, Vertical Horizon, Three Doors, like all of that.
All like, guys, I did I'm a child of like, yes, 90s, 80s. And then I have a lot of bands I've seen. And, you know, when you get to that point in your life, when you know you're older, I got to tell you a funny story. Maybe this is too much time. But it was like, Oasis is an old band. It's a British band.
Oh yeah. We know.
Love them.
See, I'm going to go see them in Chicago. And I was talking to a friend of mine. He has a really big podcast. And I talked about Oasis, and he looked at me and goes, "Oh no, man, I don't listen to oldies."
Oh, no. Oldies.
And I was laughing. So like, you know, you got an old. I was like, all right, okay, got it. But
so funny.
oh man, this is fun. I mean, okay. So, and okay, one more thing. what's something that somebody wouldn't know about you? No, I'm not saying trying to like go into your deepest, darkest secrets, but is there something like you guys have a hobby or something each? What do you guys like to do?
I feel like we can answer individually, but I'm going to answer for both of us. Danielle and I are so goofy, like really goofy. And I feel like that always doesn't get to like come out on like podcasts when we're talking about skincare and like on our socials when we're like educating. Right. But like, we're very goofy, silly, goofy moods, like a lot.
No, I could tell you guys loosened up a little bit. Like it was it's totally easy.
Yeah, like,
so
shake it out.
Just don't feel uptight. I'm telling you,
everybody,
people will say that about me. They're like, he's kind of quirky.
Yeah.
Quirky is my favorite. I only date eccentric people. I am a little quirky. Like the worst thing you can do to me is bore me.
No, I mean, I'm always afraid on the podcast and people not listening is because I get in my head a lot. And I think the only way to like try to get out of my head is trying to like make something levity out of something. And so I think it comes out of quirkiness. And like the other day, I'm here at the office. Like I'm here most of the days. That's all I'm doing is working on people. And I hear a couple of my colleagues walking down the road. And I'm sorry if you guys heard some stuff in the background. I must be doing some construction or something downstairs in the part of the building. So we'll have to edit that out. But this lady, she's like, and I heard her go, and that's Dr. Motley's room and Dr. Motley's office. He's a really tall, thinner guy. He's kind of quirky. And I was like,
you're like, thank you.
Like I didn't hear it. I was like, okay, I'm glad they didn't say I was like a jerk or something. So, anyway.
It also depends on who's saying it. There are some people
they
where
care about me.
If they're like, oh my God, Danielle's so weird, I take it as a compliment coming from them. So it depends on who's saying it.
That's exactly. I'm with you. I'm totally with it.
Yeah, something people wouldn't know about me is because I'm really bubbly and positive and always smiling is that I have a really dark sense of humor.
I love it.
So
I love it. You would match some of my friends. I have one friend like that. He's super, super happy and but when he has his humor, I'm like, what is that supposed to mean?
I've made many people uncomfortable.
Yeah. That's going to be awesome. We'd be good friends if we go hang out. That'd be fun.
Next time we come to Tennessee, let's hang.
Come to Nashville. I'm in Franklin, right outside. So you guys I'm serious. Message me
and then you up on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. I have a lot of people that come in and we just go and grab some food and stuff. So let's do it.
Yes. Do it. Oh, I can't wait. Okay. Thank you for your wonderful energy.
Thank you.
I'm so happy for the people that get to work with you in person. What a treat.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. And today it's like I literally have some people flying from Oklahoma and Texas. Like I still got to treat some tonight and then a dinner. So, man, we're just talking all that. And Chrissy's like, you got to wrap it up. Okay. Anyway, guys, for everybody here from the Ancient Health Podcast, if you guys love talking about skin, please send this for this podcast over to anybody that you love that needs this. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe, hit the little bell if you want to know when any new episode comes up. We're very thankful for everybody out there listening. We're very thankful for you, Danielle and Kayleigh, for joining me today. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much.
All right. See you, everybody.
Bye.